Hi all. The agenda for this session is Introduction to Python for Data Science. First, I'll tell you how to build that Python environment, how to install the required softwares, and then what is variable, what is data type, and what are data structures. I'll tell you what is a list, what is array, and what is a data frame, and then what is a function and what is a method. So this is the agenda for the session. So first, we have to install the required software. So for that, open the browser and then type python.org. So go to downloads, go to Python 3.7.3 version, come down, and then so if it is a Windows, we have to install this Windows x86 64 executable installer. If it is Mac OS, then install the 64-bit Mac. So since it is Windows, I'm installing the Windows 64-bit executable installer. So once it is done, open this exe file and then run. So this will open. So install Python 3.7.3 64-bit. So before clicking on install now, please check this box, add Python 3.7 to the path, and then click on install now. So it is getting installed. It might take some time. So let's wait for it.
So once it is done, we can check whether it is installed or not. Go to command prompt and then type Python. So it's installed. Python 3.7.3 is there. So close it. So once it is installed, we have to install one more software called Anaconda, where we can write code and execute the code. So type Anaconda, download. Click on this anaconda.com in distribution. So come down and check whether it's Windows. If it is Windows, click on this. If it is Mac, click on this Mac and install the required software. Since it is Windows, I'm clicking on the download button. So it might take time. So I have already installed the exe file. So this is how it looks. Anaconda 3.3 2019 03 Windows x86 underscore 64-bit. So click on this. So welcome to Anaconda. Click on next. Click on I agree. So select installation type. Click on just me. Next. Leave as is. It's like it saves in C. So next. So please check this. Add Anaconda to my path environment variable and also register Anaconda. Click on this. Okay. So please check these two boxes and click on install. So installation has started and this might take time, and let's wait till it is done. So setup is completed. So click on next and then click on next. So finish. So don't worry about this, it will get opened. So close all tabs. Stop this. Exit. Okay. So now Anaconda is downloaded. So Anaconda enables us to create notepads, notebooks. So two ways we can open the notebooks is first click on start and then type Jupyter notebook. So it's a desktop app. So click on this. So a local host is created. Now there you can create a folder. So here this is how you create a folder. So create a folder, click on some desktop and create a folder here. So its untitled folder is created. Now see, it's a Python 3. Python 3 is created. Python 3 notebook is created. So click on this Python. So this localhost with Python 3 notebook is created. Now we can run our code. So first just check here, print hello. Yes, it's running. So, and also we have to install very important packages. As I mentioned, these are the very important packages. So numpy, pandas, matplotlib and cbon. So let's install. How do we install? Go to cmd command prompt and type, since it's a python 3, we have to type pip3 install numpy. So numpy package is getting installed. So once it is done, install pandas, also very important package for data manipulations. Install pandas, and also please install this mentioned package matplotlib and cbon. So for now, those pandas and numpy are enough. So after that we'll install those matplotlib and cbon also once we cover that chapters. So go to this notebook, and other way also we can open the command from notebook. Jupyter notebook is from command prompt. Go to this and type Jupyter notebook. Just type and enter. Same, your local host is created like this, and then the process is the same. Okay. So you have created an untitled notebook which is stored in untitled here. Next, get started with our agenda. So for variables and data types, data structures, and then functions and methods. Okay. So first, before we get into the details, you can perform simple mathematical operations in Python notebook. Like we can perform addition, just 1 plus 1, and see, this is a run command here. You have to run this once you type the code. Run. So 1 plus 1, 2 minus 1, like that. Simple equations, multiplication, and then division. So simple mathematical operations we can perform. Okay, so if you use 1 star, that's a multiplication, but at the same time if you use 2 stars, it's power. Okay, so 3 power 2, 9. Okay, so 1 time multiplication, 2 times it's a power. Okay, now if you want perform 2 mathematical operations at the same time. So suppose 1 plus 1 and then 2 minus 1. Suppose, I'm sorry, 2. 4 minus 1. Okay, so execute this. So only this operation result is getting displayed, not this one. So in order to avoid this problem, we have a function called print. Print 1 plus 1, print 4 minus 1. See, now both the results are printed. So that's the use of print function. Not only just prints, it prints all the operations. Now let's get started with our usual stuff. So let me define what is a variable. Variable. So a name that can be upper, lower or lower case letters. It can be digits, and it can have underscore, etc. And also one more feature is that it cannot start with digit. Okay, so let's define a variable name. Okay? So I'm defining a variable name temp is equal to 5. Let's execute this. So it is getting executed. Now, since I said it cannot start with a digit, let's start it with a digit and define a variable. Run it. So it's giving an error, invalid token. So it should always have this upper or lower characters. It cannot start with digits, but digits can come after. Like it can have like temp underscore 1, is equal to 5. This has no issues. Okay, so and also underscore. So once variable is done, let's do some simple operations. I'm defining length is equal to 10, breadth is equal to 5. What is the formula of area? Area is equal to length into breadth, right? So I'm printing the result. Printing the result of area. So let's execute this. So it's 50. So this is a simple operation of a variable. Now let's go to data types. So we have different data types such as we have string. String as an example is suppose we are defining with we are having a temperature. So it's a string, right? We have integer, example 5. We have float, example 2.5, any decimals, and then we have boolean. These are very important data types. So boolean is a true or false. Okay, so this is a data. These are data types. Okay, next, we can find the data types by the function called type. Okay, let's since we have executed this area, let's find out the data type of area. Like we have function called type area. So what is a data type? It's an int. Since 10 is an int, 5 is an int, multiplication is an int. Suppose we define length is equal to 10, breadth is equal to 5.0, and area is equal to length into breadth. And I'm printing the area as well as its type. Print its type. Okay, so let's check now. See, it's 50.0 and it is a float, right? So it's a decimal, it's a float. Now let's go with the booleans. Boolean. So print 2 is equal to like it measures it equals left side and right side whether it is equal or not, double equal. So I am printing 2 is equal to 2. So it's a true, right? 2 is equal to true. Now I am printing the type. Print type of 2 is equal to 2. So it's a boolean. Same way we'll test the false also. 2 is equal to 3, and then we'll print the type of 2 is equal to 3. So it's a false statement, and then though it's false, it is a boolean. So we'll do some manipulations here. Manipulations. So I'm assigning. Let me define a variable a. I'm assigning it like 3. I'm assigning to a. Okay. Now print. I'm printing a multiplied by 2. What is the result? 6. Right? I'm printing a plus 5. So simple mathematical operation, but we are defining here as a, the number as a. Now let us define a string. B is equal to some string x, y, z. Now let's perform some mathematical operations. What we did say, b multiplied by 2. What is the result? So it is getting same is getting displayed as double. Suppose if it is 3, it will be displayed as triple. Okay, understood? Let's do it addition. Let's do addition. Let's do addition. So check what is the result. So it can't perform addition to the string, but it can perform addition multiplication to a string. Okay. So we have defined the data types. At the same time, we can also change the once we define the data type. Once we define a variable and a data type, we can change that type also. So I'll define with an example. So first I'm defining a is equal to 3, then print type of a. So it's an int, right? So let us convert into a string. So how do we convert? I'm defining a variable b and I'm calling a function str and I'm sending a as an input. Now a is a int. Now it str converts it into a string and I'm assigning it to a b. Okay, so this is how we will convert it. Next, very important is list. So let me define a list. So list is an ordered collection of elements. Suppose let's define a list days. I'm defining it a variable name called days. So for list you have to give start with a square bracket and end with a square bracket. Okay. Now you can give you can give int, you can give strings, etc. So I'm defining strings. Monday, like everything. If you define one list, one element in the list, that should be separated by comma. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So since it is string, it should have single quotes. Okay, so you have defined the days. Now print the days, print days. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like this it is displayed. Now here I'll define a word called index. This is how index works in the list. So first, so index works like this. So Monday will be the 0th index, Tuesday will be the first index, Wednesday will be the second, Thursday will be the third, Friday will be the fourth, Saturday will be the fifth, and Sunday will be the sixth. So total 7 elements are there. Since it indexing always remember indexing starts with 0. Since there are 7 elements, so 6 indexes which starts with 0. I mean 7 only 7 indexes, but it starts with 0, 0 to 6. So now we can address it using index. Now you can call different elements subsetting, or we can call it as subsets. Okay, so first days. Now see, if you are calling any element, you have to define like this: square brackets and inside index number, any index, any number you can enter. So 0 is Monday, right? So 0 is Monday. Type another example, take another example, 6th. So it's a Sunday. Now, not only this, but also there is negative indexing. Like since it is there are only 7 elements, we can easily go from one to last. But if there are hundreds and thousands of elements, so it's very difficult to go right. So each index. So we have negative indexing, so which it comes from reverse order. So first let me define what it is. This is indexing and this is negative indexing. Indexing. This is how it works. So first it start with like, so how many are there? 7, right? So first it starts from reverse. So -1. This is how it works. -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. Okay. So this is how negative indexing works. Okay, so -1 corresponds to Sunday, -2 Saturday, -3 like that. So we can call it by negative indexing also. So let's call some -4. So what should be the result? Should be Thursday, right? So since we have only 7 elements, it's easy to identify. But once we have thousands and lakhs of data, then this will be handy. Negative indexing will be handy. Okay. Next is we can do slicing also with our list. Slicing, like we can take from one point to the other point. So that the syntax works like this: list name and then start at and then colon end before. This is how it works. See, start it is always inclusive, but end before end, whatever you give that end number, that is exclusive. Once you do, you'll understand. So here I am defining a days. I mean, already it is there. So I'm taking two, start at 2 and then end at 6. So what is 2 here? It is Wednesday and end at 6. But 6 it is not Sunday. So 6 is exclusive. So it ends by Saturday. Okay. So it should start from Wednesday and it should end by Saturday. Let's check. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Right. And also negative indexing also works here. Days. Let's start with -5 semicolon start start inclusive, end is exclusive, and end with -2. So it starts with Wednesday and ends with end is exclusive, so Saturday is exclusive, start ends with the Friday. Okay, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now let's go to extended slicing. So what is extended slicing? Now we have defined here the start point and end point. Now we'll define only one point, whether it is start or end. We'll define only one point here. So let's go with defining start days 2 semicolon and don't define the end point. So it starts from 2, and since you did not define any endpoint, it will go till the last, right? So it starts with Wednesday and it goes till the last. And also negative indexing also works here. Or before we go into negatives, let's do it with the endpoint also. Don't define the start semicolon and define only the endpoint. But always remember, endpoint is exclusive. 4 is exclusive. Friday is exclusive. Since we did not define any start, it starts from the first Monday to 4 is exclusive. So Monday to Thursday. Monday to Thursday, right? So negative indexing also works here. So you can test that also. So once it is done, let's go to the another concept called slicing with steps. Okay, so the syntax works like this: start at colon, end before, again end is exclusive, and then we have to define a step, a colon step. Okay, so let's do an example, then you will understand. Days 0 colon 5 colon 2. So what I'm doing is I'm starting with 0, start with 0, end before 5 means don't include 5, and with a step of 2. So 0 Monday to Friday with steps 2. Steps 2 means alternative. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The output should look like this. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Steps is like it uh, skips those many steps, like Monday to Wednesday 2 steps, right? So in between Tuesday it skips. Okay, so that's it with the list, and then we'll go to the nested lists, also known as list and list. Okay, so what is a nested list or list and list? So we'll define an object, we'll define an object, then you'll understand what is it. So I'm defining an variable marks. So first, if you give two square brackets, it's a list. Since it's a nested list, you have to define list and two lists here, basically. So first list is I'm defining x comma y comma z. Okay, so this is the first list. Then I'm again defining another list inside the same, another list. So with 10, 15, 12. Okay, so two lists I defined for marks, xyz, and then 10, 15, 12. Let's print this result. Let's check what is the output. So xyz 10, 15, 12. Okay, now let's do some indexing here. So how indexing works, let's print and check. Print marks, let's define 0 first, 0 index. See xyz, so this is 0th index and this is the first index, right? But also you can print the first index. Now if you want to print a particular element, like if you want to print 10 or z or 15, then you have to define another square bracket. So let's do it. So first is defining 0, so this is displayed, and then in this first xyz list is subsetted. The once it is done, let me I want y. Since indexing starts with 0, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, so I want y. So y, right? Same way you can check with the marks, the second index also. First you have to define this and then give, suppose you want to display 12, then give 2, right? So this is how nested list works. Okay, so let's go to functions, and we have arrays on data frame. I'll define those in this chapter, and then we have a separate session for that, numpy and pandas, where we can have in detailed analysis, how what is the definition and all that will be covered in detail. Okay, so for now, let's go to function. Let me define function and a method. What is a function and what is a method, and what is the difference between a function and a method? So what is a function? So it requires, basically it requires input of an object. Okay. So example, we have inbuilt functions in Python such as minimum of x can be anything, x can be list. Okay, suppose I'll tell you with an example, then you'll understand. Okay, so let me define a function. Let me execute the function. So you have defined a list such as 59438. Now let's call the function minimum list. Okay. So what is the output here? So I'm calling the minimum of all these elements. So it should be 2, right? So this is a function. Now let's define method. So what is a method? It is same as function used on an object. Same as function but used it on an object. Okay. Like methods are also subsets of inbuilt functions in Python. Okay, here I forgot to mention some feature with functions. Like we have inbuilt functions already defined in Python, and also we have user defined. We can define the functions. See, minimum is a inbuilt function, and also we can define user defined functions. Okay. So methods are also subsets of inbuilt functions in Python. Okay. So what is the example sort? We have sort function. It sorts according to the minimum to maximum. Let's call this sort and test. Let's define the same function, same list, sorry, and then we'll use the sort. List dot sort. So it gets sorted but it doesn't print, so we have to invoke the print function and then test. Okay, see, it is sorted from minimum to maximum 2 3 4 5 8. Okay, so this is the what is function and what is a method and what is the essential difference between a function and a method. Now we have arrays and also we have data frames. Let me define those also. Just here in this session I'll just define what is an array and what is data frame, and we'll do in detail analysis of different operations in arrays and data frames in the upcoming chapters. Okay, let me define an array. See, an array is a data structure that stores values of same data type. Remember this point. It stores the values of same data types, whereas list, it can store values of different data types. Lists can have values of different data types. So this is the main, this is the essential difference. Sorry. essential difference. Okay. So this is an array. Same we can define arrays and all. We'll cover in the NumPy chapter. NumPy see we have this packages, right. I'll go in detail. So numerical operations NumPy. There we can define and do numerical operations. For now, I'm just defining it. Okay. Then we'll go to data frame. What is a data frame here? So a data frame is a 2D, two-dimensional, dimensional data structure. That is, data is aligned in tabular fashion. That is, in rows and columns. Okay. So this is the definition, and we have some features also. There's a data frame. So it can perform arithmetic operations on rows as well as columns. We'll cover this in detail in this pandas data manipulations chapter. Potentially columns are of different data types. So we can have int as a column, we can have strings, we can have floats, like that. We can have different data types of different column data types. Okay. And also we have labeled access such as rows and columns. Good. So this is the definition of data frame. So this is building the environment is covered. What is a variable? What is data types are covered? What are data structures like lists are covered? Arrays and data frames will in detail be covered in these two chapters. And then what is a function? What is a method? So all this is covered. This is introduction to Python for data science. Okay.